Hello and welcome, Cairo Thought Leaders, to episode 10 of Ask Dr. Zaino Live. And Dr. Tabor Smith, I'm glad to be back this week and be on live with you. If you're watching from our website, which most people do, that's cairothoughtleaders.com/ask-dr-zano. You'll see underneath this live video, those are our social media links. And what I want you to do is make sure you click every single one of them. Like them, G plus them, tweet them, share them, pin them, all of that good stuff. And we're even live on Periscope right now, believe it or not. So we are tying all this stuff in. Right below that, the social media buttons, you'll see the chat roll. That is a live chat. Go ahead and put your questions in there. I appreciate you guys being on. We've already got double digits chiropractors online. Again, that number, usually you can multiply by about 5 because not everybody's going to log into chat roll, but I do appreciate you logging in. And if you're logged in, go ahead and put your questions there now, and we will get to them. I have a couple of questions from email to go through as well. And then the last thing before we get started, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a new link that's down there. That says 2016 Chiro Thought Leaders Seminar Recordings. Now, let me, I sent out an email earlier today, we did, but let me kind of explain because we had a question or two that came back and maybe some of the wording that I put in there, which I'm going to change, made it sound like these were audio recordings or that maybe they were audio recordings that were going to expire. I think a couple of chiropractors thought, no, these are high definition video. We videotaped, we recorded, I don't think they use the words videotape anymore, but we recorded live the entire weekend over 12 hours of video from the Chiro Thought Leaders, 10 different sessions. And every single one of them is power packed. It's amazing training. And so if you click on that link below there where it says click here for access, you'll be able to go to the sales page and read through that and see what it is a little bit more. But I highly recommend, especially if you didn't go to the seminar live, that you get these recordings and you're able to watch them. You'll have lifetime access to these. It's password protected, but your team can watch them and you can watch them. And so that's why that link is down there. And I just highly recommend it. So, all right. So with the announcements out of the way, I'll introduce Dr. Zaino. How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, Dr. Tabor? Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Also, one other thing, the best way to keep up to date of what we're doing, all the new things that are going on, is make sure you are not just going to Chiro Thought Leaders, that you are a member of it. Of course, there's no cost to be a member, but when you're a member and you're subscribed to it, you're going to get updates of what we're doing. And also, pretty soon, probably in the next month or two, we're going to launch something, almost kind of a live integrative way, where you could take. We'll have different surveys, and you'll be able to fill out the survey and find out your strengths and weaknesses, and then we'll be able to train you in those areas that you feel that you may be a little weak in. So, but the only way you're going to be able to get access to that is if you are a member. So make sure yourself or anybody else make sure you log in and become a actual member of Chiro Thought Leaders. And share this. We want to make sure that as long as people are showing up to this and we're able to help people, you want to make sure that we'll keep this thing going, because, Dr. Tabor and I would take a lot of time out of our lives, just like you are right now. We will make sure that we're investing that time wisely. All right, let's do it.
Awesome. Well, we've got one question here. By the way, you guys can go ahead and ask more. This one, it's funny how, what you have going on in your life, that's usually what other people are experiencing and wondering, having questions on as well. And so I was actually up in the Woodlands with Dr. Zaino today, and we went through a training about hiring and about employees and training and all of that. And so our first question here, it actually says, how do you know when to add another employee? He says that he was told that basically every 80 patient visits per week, you should add another employee on that. But, what would be your thoughts on that, Dr. Zaino?
That's kind of like the BMI index. Like how can you know if someone's obese by their weight and height? Doesn't make sense. So you do it when you feel that you need to. I think we answered something like this before. I'm a very logical person and analytical, and then to come up with a formula like a person for every 80 people, I see that in 1 hour. So it's like, I don't need another person, so you don't need another person either. Or for some of you, depending on what type of practice you are and what you're doing, you may need another one. So that I would definitely go on how, it's going. If you feel that the shingles are falling off your building and then you can't possibly see another person, then maybe you hire someone. But then I would tell you right away, I would like to save you the few thousand a month or 5 figures a year you'd be sending on an extra person. I would have you invest that in the Zaino experience, and I could show you how to do everything you're doing and clean out all this empty junk and space and condense your time. So which you will not feel busy again, because you'll have proper practices and procedures, and you'll feel you could do triple what you're doing now, you know, productivity wise, with the same or less staff. So there's probably a lot of kind of subluxations or hangups in your practice before you want to get that other person, you know. And I mean, I another person just to have free time and just to, I definitely know that we could open up your headspace a little bit if you've never been to one of those Zaino experiences. So I wouldn't, unless you feel the wheels are falling off. But again, everybody who says the wheels are falling off, I could just show you the areas, and then boom, you fix those, and you could see double or triple. It's not very hard once you see the blind spots, though.
Right on. Good answer. And that website is zainoexperience.com if you want to go there and check that out. Okay, so how do you handle car accident patients? Both those patients that are already your patients and that are in a car accident, maybe even during a period of the care plan at a reduced fee, and need care for that specific injury, as well as new patients who are in car accidents and who have never been to your office before, both from a standpoint of care and finances, pay as you go, working with attorneys, etc.
Great. So great question. If you come in, I will start with the new patient. If someone comes in as a car accident case, I do not accept that person as a patient. If you are already a patient, if you are a patient and you do get an accident, of course I'm going to take care of you. But we stop. So if they're in a corrective care plan, we stop their plan, we put that on hold, and we start that car accident case. And the reason why I'll do it is because I have x-rays and exam findings of before they got in the accident. Then I'll take exam and x-rays after. So changes we could show. And then what we do is they're responsible. So the attorneys will contact us. We send them all their records. We send them their x-ray, all that stuff, the daily notes, and then they go from there. But after about, I would say 20 to maybe 30 visits, then we pull them off the car accident plan, which is not a plan. It just, you know, we stopped it. That's all we'll probably bill. Or we don't bill anything. That's what we would submit to them so they could build their case. And then we'll bring them back onto their, we'll just pick up on whatever corrective plan they had left. Or if they're a lifetimer, you know, we stop the lifetime, we start a car accident, you know, plan depending on what's going on. If they do have extra ligament damage or something like that. And then after about 20 to 30 visits, then we bring it back to wellness. So that's how we do it.
Nice.
Oh, and by the way, they pay us. We always get paid. You know, we're not going to wait till the insurance company are like, this is what we get paid. And then they, whatever time it takes for them to get their settlement, that's not going to affect how we get paid. You know, they pay us directly, and then whenever they settle, great. You know, let the lawyer and the insurance companies deal with that.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I hate PI cases, and I did, you know, even so I was accepting all of them that came through the door, and then I went to just patients that were mine, and then I even hated that, so I went to, like you said, Dr. Zaino, is, you know, if you pay for the care, I'll just charge my fee, and then, you know, I'll give you the paperwork and you get reimbursed, but I just don't want anything to do it. I had one guy who was a jerk and only came in, only stayed 7 visits. I didn't get paid for over 2 years. And then all of a sudden I got a subpoena to go to court to like back up what I did. And I was just like, okay, not anymore.
And also it's a good thing because my docs have to get those records together and stuff. So you can, you know, we do charge the attorney up to $35 to $40, and they'll pay for those records. You know, when you send the records into the attorney, they'll reimburse you $35 to $40. It's not a lot, don't get me wrong. I'm not even saying it's not a money-making thing you want to do, but make sure that, hey, listen, you're going to work, they got to pay for it. Don't let law or anything legal get you nervous, whether it be the board, something like that. It's like, you do work, you get paid for your services, and let them hash it out afterwards. But I've even seen patients that they were great patients. They got on the card and they got greedy. They got into building cases, and they got to going different doctors. They got into doing drugs, and like, but because they're building the case, they got to do this, they got to do that. So at that point, you have to dismiss them if they're gonna, because you really see you're building a case. You're trying to work at not working. So
Right.
just keep an eye out for that, because that's what you don't like. You don't like people that are trying to use you to build a case to get the settlement, like it's winning the lottery. It's a get rich quick scheme, and I mean, people will even do surgery just to build their case. It's insane. So we don't want to be a part of that. Well,
No.
I personally don't.
I personally don't either. Yes, we do have a question, so I appreciate it, Doc. What is the best way to learn corrective adjusting techniques? Are there any online resources?
Oh, yeah, you go to the CBP, you go to D. Harrison CBP Mansion Kingdom over there. And where is it, Iowa? Is it Iowa?
No, Boise.
Boise. Yeah, it's all, you go there. He's got us, you went there.
I did. And in fact, I'll answer that question. What I also did before I even went to all the seminars was he has, if you go to idealspine.com, you can see that you can buy the seminars on DVD. So you don't actually have to even travel, but you can pay. I bought all the seminars. You can buy all the basic seminars. I think it was $1,500, but you just get stacks of DVDs that you could sit there and learn and watch. I think they sell them by the seminar if you want to just buy them like $400 a piece or something like that. But that's what I would recommend. I learned it off a DVD before I actually went and learned it off of the seminars. So.
But as Dr. Tabor did go, like there's something about being there live in person that it just, and plus you're learning from the guys that are constant. By the time you get to their place, I'm sure they advanced and they found something new or advanced since they shot the DVD. So I mean, you owe it to yourself. It's it's science, philosophy, and art. So that's going to be, I'll put that in your science and a little bit of your art. So.
Right.
But make sure after you take that, you take a philosophy course to keep your so you don't get heady and tech. You don't want to get into bebeing a technician. You're using that to correct subluxation in the most effective way. So I really think I would say CBP. Then you got Pedibon and stuff, but CBP right now and Clear. Yeah, I did Clear too. So I would try. I personally, hey, you're a doctor, you're a professional. You do them all. I would do them all, and then kind of mix, match, and kind of develop your own stuff. I think that's the best way. I mean, you're going to practice the rest of your life in some way, shape, or form. So maybe just make that once a year. Part of my calendar building is you want to make seminars, continually learning. So one of your seminars, you could have a philosophy seminar, you could have a technique type of seminar you go to, and just kind of put that in your calendar for the year. So every year you're doing something to learn in an area of philosophy, in science, and in art.
Yeah, and I think that's good to say. I actually was a little nervous about going to the seminars consistently because I don't want to be. There's a lot of people that get, in chiropractic, but you get so soaked into one technique, you think that's the only thing that works. You think you're the only person that can do anything because it's this amazing magical technique. And I didn't want to turn into that, So I want to make sure that my office runs in a way that I like. I try to express myself through my office, and I just let that, that training make me better. I do want to be one of the best adjusting, docs in the world. And I think by learning all of that stuff, it just makes me, I still have the art, that's me, but it helps me apply the science or apply it in a better way. So.
Great answer.
Awesome. All right. So do you guys recommend any supplements in your office? If so, which supplements and brand?
We have supplements. The supplements I have in the office were just supplements that I personally use. And so then, I get them on a bulk doctor discount so I can get my stuff at cost. And then, and that's basically what I do it. And then I'm able to offer it cheaper for other patients because they're going to ask me, well, what vitamin D you use? And I'm like, oh, I use Garden Life. So it's right there. What protein powder you use? And I get the same questions you ask me. Oh, it's right there. What coconut oil you use? Oh, it's right there. And so then, I have some 2 shelves and they do that. So it's just a mixture of the stuff I use. It could be Garden Life, it could be Vega Protein, it could be a certain coconut oil, the snack bars I use that I eat. So it's part of being congruent. So everything on the shelf is the things that I literally have in my cabinet at home. It's the same things, you know, when people ask, it's right there. So I use it as that, because I figure patients are going to get it somewhere else, right? They're going to go on Amazon or GNC or Walmart and get them. So at least, you know, you could say, hey, I use not vitamin D, I use this brand, because there's, you know, you don't know what you're getting, but at least this is something I have good, you know, it's part of my own routine at home. And so they're all good. So that's what I say. So instead of what I use, you know, I'm going to ask you back, what do you use? Oh, I like Standard Process, or I like Premier Research Labs, or I like Garden of Life, or I take this. So that's the ones you use. You know, don't be, you know, I go to an office, I see an office, only Standard Process, almost like they were saying, it's like religious, you know, no, just, you know, get what you personally like, you know, and put it up there. So it's another way of being congruent, and, you know, it does pretty well. So I never really get up there and sell supplements. It's just there, you know, the ones that when I do talk my talks and we do hit some supplements or things that are useful, you know, then you know, it's really not, I'm not pushing supplements. And a lot of times I tell people when they go for the supplement, I say, put that down first. I'm like, you're making your adjustments, you know, how's your food? Because I want them to remember, I want them to go function first, then food, then fitness, you know, so I want to get the main things they could do on their own out of the way. And then, you know, you could start adding some supplements after we got clear nervous system function and they're eating the correct ways. Because, well, you know, when you start giving the bodies the raw materials it needs from real good food, so innate could use those materials to rebuild itself, then, you know, you find out they don't even need a multivitamin if they're eating the right God-given foods. So, you know, you just play it by ear, and people appreciate that when you take out the vitamin and put it back on the shelf. And some people, they're just like, listen, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, so I'd rather take the pill. Fine, take it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I actually, next time you do a bulk order, let me know. I like that Garden of Life brand. I use Chestnuts stuff, you know, but it's just easy to order for us. But that's a really cool idea to order in bulk. So next question, great question. I'm actually very glad that you asked this, because we have something on the horizon that I think you'll really like. So the question is, what all do you have inside your spinal rehab kits for patients to take home? And so we are putting together a program for spinal rehab, both spinal rehab and what I call also spinal hygiene. And I think they're a little bit different. I mean, you look at dentistry, and the dentists, you know, they build their business correcting cavities, braces, you know, all of these types of things that really you could say that, you know, that's an analogy, or that's a synonym, however, whatever word I'm looking for there, for the chiropractor's way to correct the spine, right? That's braces for dentistry, it's spinal correction for chiropractors. But if you also look at dentistry, they have the toothbrush, they have floss, they have things that you get to do at home with, you know, outside of that dentist's office and outside of his supervision, that help you to maintain the health of your teeth. And so we need, as chiropractors, in my opinion, we need something that we all unanimously promote, that people, just general public, can do on a daily basis that promotes spinal hygiene. And I actually think that's why dentistry is the second biggest healthcare profession in the world right now, is because of the toothbrush and because of the floss. Because imagine that, every day, twice a day, you're thinking about dentistry. Right? Whether you go to a dentist or not, you're brushing your teeth, you're thinking about taking care of your teeth. In chiropractic, we don't have that. But if we could put together some types of exercises or products that help that person maintain a better spine, and it's very generic, so it doesn't have to be, you know, a prescription based on that person's spinal alignment. And so I actually use a kit in my office that we use spinal molding rolls. So there's an exercise that people do at night before they go to sleep that molds the curves of the cervical spine and the lumbar spine. And so they can do that on a daily basis. We know everybody should have a good curve in through the neck and a good curve in through the lumbar spine. There's a TheraBand and a wobble disc. You know, I know a lot of us use wobble discs in the office for people to warm up their spine. And then there's a specific range of motion stretch and exercise, because I truly believe if everybody was taking their spine through a full range of motion on a daily basis, then we'd be able to preserve that range of motion throughout life. Because you can ask most people, especially if they have a desk job or something, they probably haven't taken their spine through a full range of motion in years, right? And we wonder why there's all that spinal degeneration and all those things. So just coming up, that's a long answer, but coming up, we've got some stuff for you that we're going to be releasing about both both rehab in the office, how to do that with a high volume office, like how Dr. Zaino does it, and then also some spinal hygiene kits and educational things to help you promote that. And I just kind of ran with that question, Chris, but what do you say?
So we use what Tabor's got, and then yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We give them a kit, and the kit, and then here's the thing with the kit. You know, when we make these available, we have options for you. It'll be just really pretty much turnkey. You know, don't think of it as like you're buying something, because that kit, the patient pays for the kit. So you know, we'll discuss it when that time comes, but it's like you're really getting the kit for not, you're actually making money on the kit, because you're getting the kit at cost, and then this patient is buying the kit. So I never throw kits in. It's like, here's our care plan, here's our adjustments, here's our rehab in office, and this is what you pay for a home rehab kit. Because there's some patients that they do not do rehab in the office. You know, someone's going to say, listen, you know, we lost our job. I can't really afford that price. So one way we take out in-office rehab and say, well, you're doing rehab at home religiously, and they still get the kit. You know, that is the kit they're getting, and we'll have a very specific spinal exercise for them to do. And again, we'll have all that available to you. It's groundbreaking. No one else is or will be doing that in the future, but we will. So we'll stay tuned. That's really the next thing we'll do, I believe, right, Taylor?
Yeah, we're working on it right now. It's close to being launched, and hopefully it'll help you create another stream of income, you know, for yourself in your office. So, awesome. Thanks for asking that question. Next question. It's very similar to the one before. Okay, so that was another supplement question. I think that was about the same thing. How do you go about making supplement recommendations? Do you talk about it on a certain visit?
Only in our advanced talks. So like in my advanced talks, remember they're all structured according to function first, food second, fitness third, finances, and future. You know, that's my way I schedule my talks. So when I'm talking in the food section, you know, whether it be like I'm talking about healthy fats, and then I say, if you're not getting those healthy fats, here's the omega-3, the Ocean's 3 that you could supplement with, you know, with a Garden of Life. So you see how I do it. So it's always in my food section of the talks I do. And it's not something like, there's no special, like I said, I just, you know, I would rather eat greens, but if you're not gonna get greens, here's a greens powder. I would rather you get your healthy fats from these, but some people are not disciplined enough to have a piece of fish or to, you know, have those fats. So, well, you want to make sure you're getting your omega-3s, boom, here's an omega-3 supplement. You know, it's kind of like, here's it. And I always say, and here's the alternative, here's the supplement. You follow what I'm saying? It's never seen, because I always tell people, do not treat the supplement like a drug or a pill. Like, okay, so I don't have to take blood pressure pills. I'll just take, you know, I won't take cholesterol meds. I'll take red yeast rice or something like that. And they're using it in an allopathic way. So, you know, we will just want to say, hey, it's a supplement, and they're all whole food sources. I want to get the ones as closest to food as possible.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And then I would say, like, for me in my office, I believe as a blanket, like, supplements are an insurance policy, you know, not a prescription. So if I recommend that everybody have a multivitamin, like a whole food, like chestnuts, fish oil, and a probiotic, that's just because our culture is so deficient in everything. You know, if someone has a great diet and they're doing awesome, then they don't need them. You know, they don't have to have them. So next question, do you guys see a lot of athletes that always seem to need more attention, or do you mainly stick to families?
Yeah, we see athletes. Everybody gets treated the same. So, so if he needs more attention, like a professional athlete, you know, no, they get,
stretching their hamstrings.
Oh no, I don't do any stretching the hamstrings. No, athletes get, yeah. I mean, everybody's everybody, and that's just the guy. I'm not a starstruck person, you know. So people are like, oh, you knew who that was, and I'm like, yeah, he's just another person who's subluxated. You know, I just really don't get too starstruck. No, everybody gets that special attention. If they need more soft tissue work, then I send them to a Groston guy. You know, I go to Groston every week to work on my shoulders, my elbows, and my hands, stuff like that. So, you know, I send them. I got people I know. If you want more muscle work and attention in those areas, right over there, they could kinesio tape you and do all the things that you want, so you can make your lifts. But I'm going to adjust your spine. You know, so no, everybody's cool. And in fact, I find the athletes to be super respectful and super efficient, and they actually get it because they have the discipline. They're very disciplined people, so they get it, and they do it all out. So because they see the big picture of it.
When I was at Dr. Shane's office, we were the team chiropractors for the West Texas A&M Buffaloes, the football team, and they were great those 2 seasons that I was there with them. The quarterback Keith Knoll was actually drafted in the 3rd round, went to the Rams. He was the starting quarterback before they got Bradford, and then his wide receiver Charlie Martin, he didn't make it in the draft, but he went free agent to the Panthers. Those 2 were the best guys on the team, and you know, we didn't get in the way of the trainers. We set up an adjusting table before the game, and if anybody who wanted to get adjusted could come get adjusted. Those guys never missed an adjustment. And if they had an away game, they would come to the office to get their adjustment before their away game. Like, they just knew they were that much more on whenever they got adjusted. And so I don't think it's a coincidence those guys were the ones in the NFL either. So great question. All right, Scott says, day 1, can you go over their health goals sheet? Day 2, when do you do the heavyweight x-ray? How do you discuss the difference in their report of findings?
Great. Okay. So day 1, what was that? Day 1, do you go over the goal sheet? Sure.
Day 1, can you go over their health goals sheet?
Yeah. So, you know, they fill out, you know, the new patient paperwork has the goals in it, and you go over it. You qualify them. You know, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, that you could do that in 3 months or in 2 months or in 1 month. You know, what's the significance of that? So really pull out, you know, the real meaning of it. So of course, because everything's leveraged on their goals. Their goals are what they really want, and that's really what the hot button. And that's because we want them to achieve those goals, and they have to understand their health is required to achieve that. The same day, we do the stress x-rays, the head weight and stuff like that. So at the masterpiece report of findings the next time, we show them, listen, this is what a spine with ligament stability looks like. This is one with ligament instability. You see it collapse. If you wore that head weight, your neck's supposed to come back. If you wear the head weight and your neck collapses, there's ligament instability and damage. And this is what I go through. I'm like, for instance, why is this important? Why is this different than any other system you've been to? And why will we get your results where no other system has? Number 1, you come in here with a sprained ankle. You sprain your ankle, you walk in my office, and if I tell you, hey, listen, I see your sprained ankle. Are your ligaments after that sprained ankle, are they stronger or weaker? The weaker, right? So I'm like, so if you have a sprained ankle with weak ligaments, I said, listen, okay, you sprained your ankle. I want you to start running to rehab that ankle. What do you think is going to happen to the ankle? And everyone's like, oh, it's going to break. It's going to get worse. I'm like, right. So, and I go like this. I go, you cannot put motion in an unstable segment, right? So the same thing with your spine. You can't put motion on unstable ligaments. You can't put motion on unstable segment. I go, so let's say you have ligament instability and no one knows, and you go to a chiropractor down the road that doesn't know that, and they start manipulating, putting force into an unstable segment. Are you going to get better or worse? They're like, we're going to get worse. I go, so now let's say now you got to go to the orthopedic surgeon, and they want to do surgery, or no, then the chiropractor sends you out to do all this rehab, and now they're doing all this rehab on this unstable segment. Is it going to get better or worse? It's going to get worse. Then they're going to send you to, they're going to give you muscle laxers that are going to weaken the ligaments. It's going to get better or worse. And then you're going to go to surgery, and they're not going to fix the problem, so it's going to get better or worse, right? So it goes. So that's why, you know, we take the stress x-rays to see exactly where the ligament stability is, or if it's not there, and we know how to address it and fix it. And so that's why when they go back and they see their head weights, you know, when they wear the head weight and it corrects, you're like, there you go, we can prove correction. If they wear the head weight and it collapses, then you'd be 100% honest. Say, listen, you have ligament instability, and you have 2 pounds on your head, and that's basically less than what gravity is doing you all day long. So in the beginning, I'm going to adjust you, and when you stand up under gravity, what's going to happen? They're like, my neck's going to collapse. I'm like, right. So you need to make every adjustment, and you need to do all your home rehab exactly the way you tell you to. And I go, and you may possibly get that ligament stability back. You know, because if you go wear that head weight, and we'll retest every time we take a picture. Some people always have that ligament stability, but if it corrects, now we can get correction. So at that moment, their expectation is we're trying to stop this disease process as much as possible. And the fact that you already have ligament damage and stability, it all depends on how you do, but there is the chance that the body doesn't get it back. But the fact that we're keeping it right here and it's not getting worse, that's a victory and a miracle in anybody's eyes. And so you be 100% honest on their expectations, because if they got ligament damage and a negative curve and degeneration, and you're telling them, yeah, we get you back to a 43-degree angle, you just hope deferred. That's what you're going to do. They're going to have hope, and they'll never get what you promised them, and they're out. And now they're going to end up in the medical road. So I'd rather you be honest because I even talked to Joe Ferrantelli. I'm like, Joe, this person has an S lordotic neck with ligament damage. So how do I fix ligament damage? He's like, Chris, sometimes ligaments really, they don't, I mean, as good as he is, and he's the best, he's
Yeah.
like, hey, there's some cases, those ligaments don't really fully heal. I mean, they're
Right.
literally, he sees with ligament damage, CBP and the corrective care is literally life support at that point. It's
Yeah.
like there is no missing adjustments. There is no missing rehab. It's like if he sees it. This is now your life. Just like we had a patient that came back from the Sedona clinic. He had prostate cancer. Adjusted him, went out there. We can knock that thing right in remission. But when he left there, they're like he had to drink 13 greens juices a day, coffee enemas 4 to 5 times a day, all this other stuff, no meats, no nothing. And then when he went home, they're like, this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. They're like, they didn't say, hey, do this for 5 months until your PSA is normal. They're like,
Wow.
you will do this for the rest of your life. This is your full-time job for the rest of your life. But you know what? At least you're going to have a quality life and you're not going to be dead of prostate cancer. And that's the way it's going to be. So it's up to him. So I really think we should have the same approach. If we're going to tell someone who's given 13 juices, they're doing it. Well, hey, listen, see this rehab, see your hygiene, you got ligament stability. Hey, this is your life support. You're going to do this for the rest of your life, and you will have such a better quality of life than what you're going to have the alternate, which would be, degeneration and neuropathy and surgery and drugs. And so again, pure. You know what? You want to be a hero? You be truthful, and you don't BS them, and they're okay with that. I remember because if you tell them, hey, listen, I can't tell you the future, but I can tell you you'll be better. But we got to see as your body corrects, we got to see how your body heals and reacts to it. And what are you doing? What are you guaranteeing that you're doing? Are you doing your rehab? Are you making your adjustments? So I go, there's so many areas. We'll walk along this road. We're your health team. We'll be beside you, and we'll get you to the healthiest point you could be maximally what we got going on. And I really think they'll appreciate that versus you painting a expectation that may not be hit, and they'll just get despaired over time.
Yep. Awesome. Good question. Good answer. Next question looks like this will be a quick one, but David. Hey, David. He's a good guy. He was asking about your patient goal sheet. If you can kind of give him an idea of what that is. Do you have? He's basically asking, do you have them just free flow their goals, or is there a specific type of format?
It says there's a sheet that says 10, 20, 30-year goals, and there's a bunch of lines on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
And then they sign it at the bottom. They fill it out, just a list, 10 lines, and then on the bottom they sign it and initial it as this is my goals and wants, and it's very basic. I don't know how to make it more complicated.
Yeah, it's real easy goal. I mean, that's probably the most basic, easiest sheet that you get.
Because you don't want to lead them to answers. You want to the only thing you want them to write it down. And some people will be like, I want to be pain-free. I want to be able to sleep. I want to be active. So that's a person who their disease has totally disabled them. I mean, they want to feel normal. I mean, just think of that. So there's no go to Crystal, Alaska. There's no there's no vibrance. It's like you just want to be. Wow, your goal is just to be normal. And so would you say that what you're going through now, would you say that it disabled you? It's disabling, yes. Did you say that you are not able to be yourself? Like you are now, your full-time job is being, a person who just can't even walk throughout the day or get through the day. Yeah, my job is to get through the day. I go, is that the way you want to spend the rest of your life? Or every day? No, I mean, I sometimes throw this in like Dr. Fred. So what significance is this giving you? They're like, it isn't. I go, so why would you want to stay here? Well, I don't. And that's when you want to see, because some people, they find significance in being sick because they get attention and people bring them food and all that stuff. But when you really find the person, you want to get that fire and be like, no, I don't want to be like this anymore. And then you want to really lead them to their options. And so you mean to tell me you're willing to do whatever it takes to get here. And I always tell them, I go, see these goals? I go, these are really low-hanging fruit. And, we want to be able to see, to be able to think outside, to really living life again. But I understand, but you understand that. I mean, when they're putting just, I want to get out of bed in the morning, normally, they're really suffering, and empathize with them, talk to them about it. But don't make it a 60-minute day one. I mean, you just make sure you understand where they're at, and show them where they're at and where they could be in your office. And is that something they would like? And would they do whatever it takes to get there? Yes. All right. So I'll see you tomorrow night with your spouse for the doctor's report. But my spouse, he's working. I go, yeah. I go, and also your spouse thinks you're here for a back pain that you can't get out of bed in the morning, but he doesn't know that you have a disease process. So if your spouse knew you had a disease process affecting your lower back and all these organs that you're having problems with, do you think he would be here? They're like, yeah, I'll get him here. Yeah, he'll be here. So just be urgent. So I think the goals help with the urgency, but the goals also, because that's why they're there. It's not the back pain, it's that it's affecting their life. So really their chief complaint is how it's affecting their life, not the symptom. The symptom is just the fire alarms, but the symptom caused their life to change for the worst, for them to say, I don't want to be like this anymore. So let's talk about what made them decide not to be like that anymore. And then you take them through your unique and different process of health is, which is the truth. And then all types of emotions come out of people. They get angry. No one ever told me this. B, they get scared. I've been through so much. Is this just another thing where I get my hopes up and it goes down? So, you got there's a lot of personal things. That's why I think if you've never been to Dr. Fred's boot camps, you'll see the link and stuff below. Definitely get to one, because he opens your eyes to, wow, you're talking to the human. You're not talking about bending the spine back. You're talking to the human being, and you're being present with them. And you can be present with someone in a couple seconds. It doesn't take an hour. And you could connect on a level that they've never connected before, because you're looking to see who they really are. And you see a spirit in a body, and you see that person, that spirit, not able to fulfill their mission in a sick, diseased body. And that's in there, and you want to be able to get the best out of them and kind of play a part in that. So if you have that compassion and empathy, I think you don't need a script for that, right? So if you just walked in and talked about that, you don't even have to do your day one. You know what I mean? So the words are great, but it's you behind the words. Do you care about them? And I think if they know that you care, and they will be scared, because people default, right? When you get stressed, we default to our old patterns. So they might get stressed and default back into a medical model, and you got to walk them through it. We had a patient who, bronchitis, pneumonia, and she comes in. I'm like, listen, I'm going to adjust you. And I always just adjust Atlas when someone's like, really, I'm like, I'm just going to adjust Atlas. And I go, you're going to email me later and tell me how much better you're doing. She's like, but they want to be on prednisone and all these drugs. I'm like, no, you're not doing this anymore. I go, your body can heal. I go, that's what you've always done. And then look where it got you. So I'm going to adjust you later that night. Dr. Zaino, I'm better, because I'm speaking truth. Okay, I go, I'll see you tomorrow. Comes in, boom, right Atlas again. I'm so like, okay, email me tonight. Tell me how much better you're doing. And then she comes in today. Her voice is high pitched like it usually is, and she's doing great. So I go, and I told her, I go, do you see? I go, this was a huge faith. This was a mountain moving faith moment for you, because you were so used and trained to doing this one way. And every time that patient of yours gets that sickness or that cold or that fever, and they get nervous and they want to go back to what they always did, which didn't get the results they ever wanted. And they literally, that's the time where they're tested and have to use their faith in the principle. But let me tell you, once they get through it and they see my body, not me, Zaino, my body healed itself on its own without all this. I used to take drugs and all this and antibiotics, and it healed on its own. Then and only then, through that trial, is their faith solid now. Now they are true chiropractic warriors. Because everybody, remember, like, the principle sounds great when you feel great, but when they go through that fire, that's the time when they're really tested. But if they could stand through with them through that test, and then they get well and see my body did it, and yes, my body could heal, and this principle is now living and active in my life, then that person's changed forever. That's your lifetimers. Man. So that's a good one to close on.
That is, man. That's awesome. Good answer. Great questions tonight. And I know we have a handful of questions that are yet to be answered. I'm going to make sure I copy, paste these to a document that we save. And I'll make sure that all these questions you guys ask get answered, because we really, really do appreciate you being on here live even. That's even better. Thank you. But then we also appreciate everybody who watches the replay as well. So if you're, again, watching from the website, you can scroll down below that chat and you'll see the link there is available to get your hands on the recordings of the 2016 Chiro Thought Leaders Seminar. You'll get access to all 10 sessions over 12 hours of video that was shot live over that entire weekend. It's amazing content. I highly recommend you check it out. And for all of you, thank you again for being on with us tonight. And thank you, Dr. Zaino.
Thanks, Taylor. Bye, guys. We'll see you next
Bye,
week.
guys. Have a good night.